Hi, I'm excited to tell you about our new upcoming monthly online programming series called EcoPsych Inspirations. And this starts from a personal experience that I think many of us are probably having, which is like sometimes needing a real boost. Because the truth is, our own individual lives can be hard enough as it is, to say nothing of living in these pressing and urgent times with a planet in peril. And it really weighs on our mind and our hearts and our spirits and our relationships. And so many of us are looking for a boost, myself included. And it's not always as simple as getting some exercise or talking to a friend, a good night's sleep, or heck, even my coffee, or in my case, my dirty chai. Is that like sometimes we're needing something more. And I don't always find that boost, and sometimes it's not even appropriate. But a lot of times when I do, it comes from the eco-psycho-spiritual, from practices or experiences, ideas or teachings that I'm able to incorporate into my life to get that type of boost. And so I'm wanting to share that with others, the power and the potential that eco-psychology has to nurture a lot of the healing and the health and the resilience and the resistance that so many of us are needing right now. So this monthly 90-minute programming series is intended, one, to spark connections and community with other people from across the globe who are wanting to come together to explore the applications and the opportunities that eco-psychology has for meeting these really critical times. It's also looking at what are some ideas and insights that eco-psychology has that can foster greater understanding, not just for what's happening on our planet and the world, politically, socially, and otherwise, but also greater insight into our own lives. And then that leads into the next step, which is action. How can the field of eco-psychology bring practices and principles and tangible steps that we can bring into our lives to make a really meaningful difference for us personally and our relationships, but also the communities and our work and the world that we're a part of, which is so critically necessary right now. And so I'm really looking forward to this. It's planning to build upon a lot of the core components of our existing trainings and classes, which is it's connections with other people, it's practical applications, it's really robust learning and heartfelt engagement, and then that translating to action, but wanting it to also be a little bit different from our other programming in that it can be more nimble and adaptive. It doesn't take as much work and effort to put on. We can shift subject matter and content really quickly. And so in that way, it's easier to provide and hopefully easier for you to receive and digest and make possible. Because if you can't make one month, you can do another. You can get the recordings for a month that you weren't able to make. And what we do want to continue, however, is that it feels like a mini course, that you get something really substantive and practical for your life that has very tangible benefit for your life. And so the structure is going to, or at least the structure will vary, as will the subject matter. Sometimes it'll just be me with a presentation. Other times it'll be a guest teacher who does their own programming and offering. And sometimes it might be a conversation that I'm having with someone that I really admire and respect in the field of eco-psychology. So there'll always be some type of quote unquote presentation, but then there's going to be opportunity for reflection and practical applications, as well as sharing and connecting with each other, because that's always been important and always will continue to be important. One thing I want to make note is that we are going to be asking people to pay for this. We are not a nonprofit, so we don't have an annual fundraising campaign or big donors behind us that makes it possible to offer lots of programming for free. And additionally, other information people may not know is we typically offer upwards of 40% of participants are getting some type of scholarship. And that's always been so important for us, and we want to continue to make it available to programming to people regardless of their financial circumstances. But it means that even our existing more traditional courses don't bring in maybe the funds that some people might think. And additionally, just to put on this type of program takes at least 5 hours of preparatory work on my part, to say nothing of Cassandra, who is always behind the scenes on the back end making these things possible. So there's a lot of work that just goes into putting it on, to say nothing of actually offering and facilitating the 90-minute programming and any follow-up. So we're going to ask people to pay what you can for yourself and to pay it forward. And for those who maybe are in circumstances where you don't have as much to give, that's fine. You're as welcome as always. And we look forward to bringing people in all circumstances, in all places, together to be a part of the conversation and the learning and the support and the engagement that can bring about the real changes and transformation that we are so desperately needing in the world around us and in us, and to provide that boost. So I hope you're interested. If you are, keep tuned with us, with our newsletters and our webpage, and more information will be coming. But in the meantime, as we are starting to put this together and put plans for offering programs in the fall, I wanted to come and share it with you and let you know how excited I am and looking forward for you joining us and to be part of the ongoing programming of Ecopsychology initiative. So as always, be well. Nature knows the way.